All right, we're going to begin our talk now on how Taaha accidentally hacked into ASU. Everybody give it up for him.
Yeah, so this is whoops, I accidentally hacked ASU. So I actually have had a lot of imposter syndrome about giving this presentation, so I just want to give a few expectations before we start. This is my first talk. This is my first Infosec talk ever, so I'm a bit nervous. Thank you. The presentation itself is mostly memes, so and it's not very. What I did wasn't very complicated. It's not technically intensive. It was entirely accidental. So this isn't even script kiddie stuff. This is script toddler. And obviously don't do what I did. I was kind of dumb, and obviously I know better now. But if you are aspiring to, do anything like this, get the proper permissions required. So let's start. Hi, I'm Taaha Sayyed, though I go by Godly Avenger on the interwebs. I'm 17 and a high school senior. A friend of mine got me into information security like a couple years ago, and since then it's just been like a ball rolling down a hill. I've done Cyber Patriot, got some SAN certifications. I even went to DEF CON 31. I somehow won free tickets to that. I want to pursue a degree in computer science at ASU next year. And from there, definitely work in the cybersecurity field. I don't know what exactly, because there's like so many different disciplines. There's forensics, pen testing, blue teaming, but I have the time to figure all of that out. I use Arch, by the way. This laptop, actually. This is where the hack happened. This is where I go to school. My school is an entirely digital. It's entirely digital, but they offer what they like to call experiences at ASU locations throughout the valley. I've been all over. This is the Mesa Mix Center, Media and Experience. It is an ASU location centering on cinematography and film. Notice that big screen outside? That is very important. And also what's important is the fact that ASU uses digital directory kiosks around their campuses. Basically, they're interactive maps. If you want to find your classroom or a place to study, you'd use them, though nobody really does. Okay, this happened September 13th, 2024 on a Friday. It was after class, and I wanted to find a quiet place to study, so I used one of these kiosks. Probably the first person that has ever used that kiosk in like the past month or whatever. Nobody uses them. They're almost useless. But I was using it normally, and then it freeze, and then I pressed it a bunch of times because it froze, and I am impatient, and it crashed, revealing a Windows desktop. So what do I, in my infinite genius, do? I go to it was entirely touchscreen, so I didn't have a keyboard. I go to the accessibility settings on Windows, turn on the screen keyboard, and open an elevated command prompt. I don't even know if it asked me for are you an administrator? But I don't think it should have given me administrator privileges. So from there, what do I do? I make the genius decision to play a 10-hour version of Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. And then I left. I didn't expect it to get very big. when I was doing all of this, it had reverted to the directory screen. So I figured, okay, after some amount of time, it'll probably go back. I was able to get it back from the directory screen because I still had the keyboard open, but I closed the keyboard and I just left, like, okay, it's probably going to go back. I won't worry about this, whatever. But it became a lot bigger than that. Before I want to continue this, I just want to make sure that I'm not evil or I was just dumb and and you know, obviously if you find a vulnerability like this, talk to the people, the proper people, or you know, just if you didn't exploit anything, maybe just walk away. Try not to get involved, because this turned out to be this had some consequences for me, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, don't be dumb. Get the proper permissions, all of that stuff. 2 weeks later, the next week was a break, so I was at the campus 2 weeks later. I got called away from class during a presentation by some faculty by the school administrator. And it turns out that not only did I play Never Gonna Give You Up on that kiosk, but it was mirrored to a bunch of signs, not only at the Media and Experience Center on that big screen outside, but at I wish I could have seen it, so I could have taken a picture, but and maybe avoided all of this by, you know, talking to somebody. But after this happened, I just left. I walked to my car and went home. I didn't look outside at the screen. So yeah, not only did this happen at the Mix Center, it happened at I don't remember. They mentioned West Campus and I believe Tempe Campus as well. And somehow nobody talked about this, but I mean, that kind of makes sense because this was a Friday before the semester started, so hardly anybody saw this, but it happened. Right after talking to my school's administrator and being like, I'm sorry, but I was actually trying not to laugh. Not because I thought it was funny, though it was kind of funny, but it just seemed ridiculous. How could I, just by messing around on a kiosk, accidentally not only get administrator access to the server responsible for these signs, but, you know, haven't mirrored to, I don't know how many signs, maybe hundreds. Right after I talked to the school administrator, I respond to this con's call for speakers because I guess this is an interesting story, and I figured nobody would talk about this, and it kind of needs to be talked about. Another thing I forgot to mention, while I was, talking to to my school's administrator, the main technical guy for ASU Mixed was there. He does a whole bunch of stuff. He's not the cybersecurity guy. He's just the guy for everything. And he mentioned that that I would have been expelled from ASU if I was an actual student, which I don't know how to feel about that. Like, on one side, it's understandable. I compromised them, but on the other side, I did not mean it in a malicious way, and they were the ones that had absolutely terrible, I don't know, they were the ones that let this happen. I don't even know what exactly I did. It might have been a gesture. I might have just crashed it, but I wasn't able to replicate it. And I think if they would have let me try and replicate it, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It was just a fluke, I guess. This is the email that my school's administrator sent my mom. I uploaded a YouTube video to the directory screen, which is connected to hundreds of other screens across ASU. I touched the screen and it crashed, exposing a Windows screen. I agree that it would have been a better discussion to let us know. That's correct. Okay, so consequences. I had to reflect on these actions by filling out a form, have a few sessions with the IT lead at Mesa, the one guy responsible for everything, and show him what was done to ensure that they have corrected the vulnerability. This did not happen. They never reached out to me after and the last one, write an apology to the head of ASU IT to apologize since he was looped in and is aware that an ASU prep, that's my school, student was tampering with the screen. Please have him share what happened, what was the outcome, and what I have learned. And I need to give a sincere apology and guarantee this will not happen. I think that last part is kind of going to shoot themselves in the foot, personally, because this thing will probably happen in the future, and I might not be the one to find another vulnerability. I hope I'm not, because I don't want to get expelled, and if I find another vulnerability, I'm going to do my best to walk away. They did not inspire a lot of confidence in and trust in them. They basically, I feel threatened, kind of, but yeah. Okay. I made that meme at 11 a.m. last night. I don't. Okay. The remainder of this presentation, there's not much left, is going to discuss ASU in particular, and I obviously don't know a lot of their stuff, their network topologies, what cybersecurity measures they have in place. So I'm going to make a bunch of educated guesses here. But I think I'm a bit paranoid about this because ASU is a huge organization. Not only does it have thousands of undergraduate, graduate, and faculty, it is also huge, like physically. There are 4 main campuses in Phoenix, a bunch of like secondary locations, and locations in Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Bermuda, of all places. And again, I don't know specifics, but I would guess that those locations outside of Phoenix are probably connected to the university network through like a VPN or something. So basically, it's absolutely huge. It's one of, if not the biggest, probably not the biggest, one of the biggest organizations in Arizona. And all it takes is, one vulnerability, one 17-year-old kid mashing a kiosk or whatever. And again, there's only one guy handling everything at Mix. I'm not sure, but I don't think they have like a dedicated cybersecurity team over there, which makes sense. It's not a big campus, but this gives me the perception that they are stretched kind of thin, that you might probably not find any vulnerabilities at their main campus in Tempe, but if you go to Polytechnic campus or West campus or their extant locations in Bermuda, you might find a vulnerability, and then there are a bunch of things you can do after you've compromised them. If I was an actual attacker and did this with malicious intent and was able to pivot, I might have been able to find student information, dates of birth, social security numbers, which even if hashed, you can easily recover. There might be. The Mix Center has like a router underneath. I wish I took a picture of this. Underneath the stairs, like within arm's reach. Like if you leaned over and you were tall enough, you could probably plug in a pineapple or something. And there are there are cameras, and that's how I was caught with a CCTV. I just it still makes me laugh imagining it, but if you wanted to compromise them, I'm guessing you could. ASU has thousands of devices, so there might be RCEs or and you could easily enumerate all of that. 2 years ago, when I was at ASU West, I decided to use aircrack to monitor network traffic around me, and from there I was able to find the actual room where they had their server equipment for the building. Why would you put the room number in public traffic? So again, this doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, and I'm going to be a student there next year, so I'm kind of paranoid about my data and, possible data theft according to me, or, a big security breach. Yeah. Okay, this is really hard to see. Let me try and make it bigger, actually. Yeah. This happened 2 weeks after, I don't remember exactly, I think 2 weeks after I got in trouble, November. So they have their BIOS version, the model, and this is on the screen outside, which, I mean, you'd think you should disconnect if you're doing maintenance of any kind, but... Okay, so why am I here telling you all of this? Number one, I'm still kind of salty about possibly being expelled. If I were them, again, I don't have any experience in this. I want to do this in the future, but I have no experience. If I were them, I would have been a little bit more accommodating to a kid that accidentally compromised them. But I think, and this is my personal opinion, that they were scared that because I got administrator access to one of their servers from a kiosk. I would be scared if I were them. I would worry about my job. Next thing, this is a funny story. I accidentally rickrolled a lot. I rickrolled ASU. I'm reminded of that DEF CON talk where that like high school student displayed the Rickroll in all of his high school district signs. I mean I kind of did that, but this wasn't even technically intensive. I accidentally did this. I didn't do it on purpose. But most importantly, somebody should do something about their security, because I don't have. Something doesn't give me a lot of faith in their team. They don't have any public bug bounty program where if you find a vulnerability, you can report it. They have a contact information, but if you search up ASU bug bounty, you won't really get anything. They just have information for actual pen testers, and then you've got to sign a bunch of NDAs. But which I think makes them a bit closed off to getting this public sort of help towards their vulnerabilities. Would you rather, or would they rather have a 17-year-old kid accidentally rickroll ASU, or an attacker get into their server and pivot and wreak havoc, sell data, whatever? All right. I guess that's it. Questions? Yeah. I didn't upload anything. I just went to youtube.com. Yeah. Thank you for your honesty. Definitely. That's a bit of a hard question to answer, because this is just, I think this is the first of many similar stories. Obviously, I won't, do this on purpose again, but I kind of enjoyed it. Like, yeah. I get like offensive security has a lot of like glamour to it, and I'm attracted to that. Ideally, I would like to become a pen tester. So I guess you could say that this has influenced me towards that career path. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you still want to go to ASU?
I don't really have a choice. They're close by. I have a decent scholarship. The only way I would not go to ASU is in the 1 in a million chance I get a full ride scholarship to somewhere else. I don't think that'll happen. So I would rather not, but I don't have a choice. Yeah.
Are you gonna put this on your resume?
I already have. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Hold on. It's in the other window. Oh God. Split screens. I don't like them. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
You may not know this, but obviously they figured you out via camera.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you know if they actually went through an incident response process?
They did. I'm sorry I didn't mention this. So the guy responsible, the one guy responsible for everything, he told me what had happened from his perspective. And basically, he was going home for the day, and he sees the Rickroll on the screen outside. And first he's like, haha, that's very funny. And I mean, I think that's an understandable response. But then he realized, oh no. So he calls up his superior, and he calls up his superior because this was apparently not only affecting Mix Campus, and they were able. I want to give them credit where it is due, and they apparently resolved it very fast within an hour or two. And they told me they patched whatever I did. I don't know what I did. They said it might have been a gesture thing, so they disabled that. Which, if that's the only thing they did, again, doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. But yeah, they did go through an incident response, and that is why I had to apologize to the head of ASU IT rather than just the head of ASU Mix. Or yeah. Yeah. After I talk to administrator, I submit the call for speaker. I call my mom and I tell her, and she doesn't understand, because she's not. She has a degree in computer science, but isn't very into it. Didn't pursue it as a career. So she thinks I did something very wrong. But then I'm like, no, it's fine. And immediately after, and then while I'm talking to her, and this is 15 minutes after, she's like, I'm getting a call from the school administrator. So I'm like, okay, here's what happened. Talk to her, and then we'll talk at home. Yeah. They didn't contact law enforcement, thankfully. Any other? Yeah. Okay, are you talking about the scholarship to ASU I received? So that was actually completely separate. I got what ASU calls a New American Scholarship, which is basically if you have a certain GPA and certain test scores, you just get it automatically. ASU basically throws money at you if you are an in-state student and want to attend. I'm waiting on an additional scholarship because of my SAT scores, but the scholarships were not related to this at all, and I kind of received them around the same time because I got accepted into ASU at around the same time, but not related at all. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much for having me.